Okay, so for this assignment, we are going to make this, which is a sheet stamp. That would be done if you had a flat piece of metal that you were going to use a machine to stamp the shape out of. What we're interested in this drawing, I want you to look at, which is that the red lines are actually part of the object we're making. The white things here are dimensions, and notice they're in fractions instead of decimals. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the program. There are some dimensions up here that are in blue, and those dimensions are angles. And I'll show you how to do angular dimensions as well. And one thing to notice about this drawing is that these yellow lines, okay, go down the center, and that lets us know, and the fact that they're dashed like that lets us know that this is an object that's symmetrical. So if you were a machinist, you were making this in a shop, you would know that all these dimensions in this top left-hand corner are the same for all of these other corners because of these yellow, these dashed lines, which would make it symmetrical. So I'm going to show you how to do all of that. And this actually came from a really good student drawing from Travis Palmer. So we're inside AutoCAD, okay? And some things that you need to know before you get started. One is we're going to set this up to work with fractions instead of decimals for our dimensions. So first thing you're going to do is go up under Format and go to Dimension Style. Once you have done that, you should see some dimension styles already. There's a little gear down here. You're going to click on the gear and go to Modify. All right, under Modify, under Primary Units, okay, this one right here, this little thing that says Unit Format, we're going to go from decimal and change that to fractional. Once we've done that, you can see the little preview here. It will show you just how those look. And actually, we could change the precision of this, but we're not going to. But you could go super precise and go up to 1/256th of an inch. I'm going to click OK on the bottom, and I'm going to click Close. Okay, now when we dimension, we should see this as fractions. Now, in our example here, our drawing, the first thing we need are these yellow dashed lines. So you probably know from the whirligig how to make the lines yellow, but how do you make them dashed? Well, make sure your Properties Inspector is on. If it's not, you can go up to the window and you can check off Properties Inspector. Okay. We're going to do under General, under Color, we're going to change the color to yellow. And under Line Type, which is 2 down from there, we're going to click there, and it only gives us one kind of line right now. So we have to go down to Manage, and we have to choose a new line. So we have to load one in. So continuous, meaning a straight, unbroken line is all that's there right now. We're going to click on Load. Okay, and these lines, there's a ton of these, and they all have different meanings and different types of drawings, and they're alphabetical, so you can see academic, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to scroll down until I find Center 2, and I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to select Center 2 and click OK. All right, so now we just need to draw some lines. So I'm going to make sure I'm in my drafting tools. I'm going to click on the line tool, and one thing that you need to know, or can be helpful in the program, is right now it doesn't matter where we put these lines on the screen as long as they're straight vertical line and a horizontal line. They don't even have to be centered on each other because we're going to use the mirroring tool in a second to do that. So I'm just going to click somewhere on the screen. I'm going to do the line that goes down. Now to force the line straight down, if I hold down the Shift key, it will create something called ortho mode in the program, which means something will be straight up and down or straight left to right. Okay, as you can see, I've done that. I'm going to do the line tool again, and again, this does not need to be centered. I'm going to click one side, hold down Shift. Oops. Let me click the line tool, sorry. Click one side, hold down Shift, and click the other side. So good. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see kind of where we're at. Now this, I can tell you right now, is probably too big of a lines that I've drawn, but that doesn't matter. Okay. So now the next thing for our drawing, to bring it back up, I now have these 2 dashed lines. Okay, horizontal, vertical. All right. The way we're going to make this drawing is we're going to make a series of parallel lines, okay? So we're going to copy these two yellow lines in various distances so we can make them. And then we're going to make these lines up here by trimming them off. So here's how we do that. We have a tool called, I'm going to shrink that a little bit. We have a tool in the program called the offset tool. Now the offset tool lives down here. It looks a little bit like a Tetris brick, someone told me. So here's what you need to know about the offset tool. The first line I'm going to have you make is this one up here. And let me draw a little box around it so you can see. And make this line right here, this red line. We're only worried about the top left-hand corner of this drawing. Okay, so actually I probably ought to zoom in so you can see just what I'm worried about here and nothing else. Okay, only worried about this corner because we can use the mirroring tool later to take care of the rest. So back to our image. So right in this section right here, there is a line. Now this line is 2 inches up. You can see that from this dimension, from this line. All right. So we're going to start by using the offset. The offset is a fancy way of saying parallel line. So I'm going to click offset. Then the first thing down here on the bottom, this always tricks people. It says specify offset distance. Most people think you're choosing the line you want to make a parallel of, but you have to tell it a distance first. So we're going to type in 2, because that is 2 inches away, and we're going to hit enter. Then we're going to choose the object we're going to offset, which is this horizontal line. Click on it. And then it wants a direction, either under that line or over. So we want it over, and then we're just going to click. Okay. So now, obviously this line is too big, too wide. All right. But first, because this is going to be an object line, it's going to be part of the object. I don't want it to be this yellow dashed line. So in order to do that, I have to click on the line. Oops, I got to get out of the offset tool. I have to hit escape first. Click on that line, and then over in your properties inspector, I'm going to change the color to red, and I'm going to change the type to continuous, or I could have said by layer. That's the same. And it looks weird until you hit escape, and then you'll see your solid line. Okay. Now I'm going to take care of the other line that's on top, and then we'll trim in just a minute. This line up here, if you look towards here, is actually 7/8 of an inch above that 2-inch line. So here's how we do that. We haven't typed in fractions in the program before, so I'm going to show you how to do fractions, and then I'll show you how to do mixed numbers, which comes up. I'm going to click offset again because we're going to make another parallel line to that. It wants the offset distance, so I'm going to do 7/8. Slash is the one that's underneath the question mark on your keyboard. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to choose that red line. I'm going to move upward and click. Okay, notice it made an exact copy of the red line this time. Okay, now if you look at this drawing, you have to be really careful because these lines look like they are the same size, the same width, but they're not. This one, as you can see, is 1 1/8, and this one, as you can see, is 1. So how do we decide how to cut those off? Well, the way we do that is we are going to make parallel lines offset off of this vertical line. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is 1 inch. So we're going to do offset and type in 1, enter, because it's 1 inch wide. And I click this line and move to the left. Okay, now that makes up where this one is going to get trimmed off. So just to make things a little easier in this drawing, to not have to see too many lines at once, I'm going to do some trimming now. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the trim tool. I'm going to select the object that acts like the scissors. That's going to be this yellow line to the left, vertical one. Click on it. I'm going to hit enter to let it know that I've chosen the scissors. And then I'm going to click the part of the line I want to get rid of. So this is the left part of the bottom red line. Okay. Now also, I'm going to hit escape because I've done that part of the trim. I don't need this other half over here whatsoever for either one of these lines. So I'm going to click this vertical line, hit enter, and I'm going to click the two right sides. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. Now, I'm now finished with this line, so I'm not in the trim tool. I've hit escape, and I click on this line and just delete it, because I only use that line to make this 1 inch wide line. Okay, now I need to make a 1 1/8 inch line. So the way that I'm going to do that, see that there? The way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to use the offset tool again. And now to type in 1 1/8, I actually have to type in 1, like the minus sign over by the 0 key, and now 1/8, so 1 1/8, enter. Select the object I want to offset. It's going to be this vertical line. I click on it, and I'm going to move it to the left again. If you zoom in, you'll see that it's a little bit, just 1/8 of an inch wider. Okay, I'm going to trim again. I'm going to click my trim tool. This is going to be my scissors, that left-hand side, and I hit enter. Then I'm going to click the left-hand side of the red line, and then I'm going to hit escape, and then I'm going to get rid of this line here by just deleting it. Okay, so I have this much of the drawing done. You can see from here, okay, that I'll highlight the area I have done, which is just these 2 lines there. Okay, now I want to focus on these 2 lines over here. So if you look at the measurements available to us, you will see that this first line right here is 2.5 inches to the left of the center. Okay, so we're going to do that with the offset tool again. I'm going to click offset. I'm going to type in 2-1/2. I could have also typed in 2.5 since that's an easy decimal to do. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to choose this yellow line. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to move to the left and click. Okay. Now I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to change that yellow line to a solid red line by going up here again. And I hit escape so I can see it, escape. And now I'm going to offset again, offset. Actually, let me show you what I'm offsetting and why. In the drawing, the next line over is 1 inch, but actually, let me trim this bottom half of this line first, because we won't need to trim it twice if I do it just this one time. So I'm going to click trim. I'm going to use this to trim off with the horizontal yellow line. Click it, hit enter. Then I'm going to cut off the bottom half of that red line. Okay, and then I'm going to hit escape. Then I'm going to offset that again. It is 1 inch away according to my drawing. So I'm going to click offset, and type in 1, enter, choose my red line, and move to the left. Okay. Now I hit escape again to get out of the offset tool. Now you can see from the drawing here where I have it highlighted that this line goes up, both of these, only 1/2 inch. Okay, so I need to trim that off. So I need a line to trim it with. So we're going to offset, you might have guessed, offset 1/2 inch up, so I'll do 1/2, enter, and choose this yellow line down here, and move it up 1/2 inch, and click. Okay, and now I can trim, and what's nice about this is I can use this one line like the scissors. I can click on it, hit enter, and then I can click off the top halves of those lines, and hit escape. So I can use the scissors for 2 lines at once. And then I'm going to click on that line and delete it. Okay, so now we have these 4 lines. Now, if you're looking at this drawing, you might be trying to figure out this part over here, which is the angled lines. There are 4 of them. A little hard to see with all the measurements in here, okay? But what do we know about these angled lines? Well, they don't give us a distance. None of the dimensions that we have on here are helpful to getting those lines measured, okay? What they do to give us is a 30-degree measurement here on the outside of this angle, and a 30-degree measurement here on the outside of that angle, okay? These little leader lines right here show you where they're measuring the angle from, okay? So this part here is 30 degrees, and in this case, this part here is 30 degrees. So what we're going to do is make a line. We're going to start on this outside edge on the left here, okay? And we're going to make a line, and we're going to make it the same degrees we're going to make it nice and long, because what we're going to do is where these two lines intersect each other is where they end. So we don't need to worry about a distance exactly. Okay, so let me put that out of the way. We're going to click on our line tool. We're going to make sure that our line color is red. We're going to make sure that our line type is continuous. Okay, and now we're going to make sure our object snap is on, but make sure that your grid snap, your snap mode, is not on. Okay, object snap, and we're going to click on the end of this red line right here. Click, and then as I move, now I'm not getting any numbers on the screen. If you are also not getting any numbers on the screen, come back down to the status bar down here. Click on the little thing that looks like a battery with a plus sign. It's called dynamic input. Click on it, and I'll show you, and I'll draw that line again. So when I click on that, okay, you'll see this line with an angle on the right, but there's a problem. The angle in this program is showing on the right, and the angle in the picture is showing on the left of the line we're trying to make. So we have to do a little bit of math, angular right angle math. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. If the area that they want is 30 degrees on the left hand side, and this is measuring from down here, okay, you can see that this is 0 degrees, okay, and it's going slowly up like this, okay. If I typed in 30, you'd see that it would go way over like this, and this is not right. So what I need to know is, if we're going from here down to here, that's 90, and they're saying from here to here in the drawing is 30, so that leaves us, we have to subtract, and we get 60. So I'm going to just type in a measurement for the length of the line that I just know is long enough to give us something to trim off of. So I'm going to type in 3, and then instead of hitting enter, I'm going to hit tab, which lets me put in an angle. So the angle is going to be 60, because we figured out 90 minus that 30 is 60. Okay, and we have a super long line. We're going to hit escape. We're going to do the same thing on this one. Okay, click here, type in 3, tab, and 60 is our angle again. Hit enter. Okay, now don't get confused, because this is coming way up here that we're done. Okay, if you look at the drawing, we have 2 more angled lines right here, these red ones. Okay, and the issue is this time 30 degrees is coming from here, but they're really measuring from a straight line. Okay, so a straight line is 180 degrees, so 180 minus 30 is 150. So I'm going to start this time over here. Okay, I'm going to click on the end of this line, click, and then move in a direction. Okay, I'm going to type in 3 for the length again, hit tab, and for the angle, we've decided it's 150 degrees. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. Do the same thing up here, making sure that I'm putting it on the end of this horizontal red line and not this one. I'm going to click here, move in a direction, 3, tab, 150, enter. Okay, now I'm going to hit escape. So now I get this, which obviously is kind of messy. So we just have a lot of trimming to do. It's good practice. So click on the trim tool. You can choose any line that's going to act like the scissors. So I know that this line is going to act like the scissors, and I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to cut off this line and this line with that. Okay, I'm going to hit escape. Okay, and I'm going to hit trim tool again. This time this line is going to act like the scissors. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to trim off this line, and well, I don't need to trim off that line, so I hit escape. Okay, so those 2 lines are right, the inner lines are not. So I'm going to hit trim, and then make this line the scissors, enter, and trim off this line. And I'm going to hit escape. And one last time, trim off this one as the scissors, enter, and trim off this one up here. Awesome, and then I hit escape. So now we have one corner of this all done. Now, it would seem like we have a lot of work to do because we have 4 corners, but there's a simple tool that makes this really easy to do. It's called mirroring. And to mirror, you need some lines that are the symmetrical lines of the object. So symmetrical lines mean that everything on one side is exactly the mirror image of everything on the other side. So the mirror tool is right beside the offset tool. It looks like a triangle with a line through it. I'm going to click on mirror. It's going to ask me to select the objects I want to mirror. I'm going to select all of the red lines and only the red lines. Okay, then I'm going to hit enter. I'm done selecting lines. Then it's going to say specify first point of the mirror line. Well, I want to flip it left to right first. So I'm going to choose any 2 points on the yellow vertical line, because that would be the line you'd lay a mirror on if you wanted to make a left to right flip. So I'm going to click on the end point of this line here. And then as you can see, as I'm moving around, you get a mirror image of it, and it would let me kind of put it in any direction. I'm going to click the center where these things go together. Now, once I do that, it looks like nothing happened, but if you look at your command line on the bottom of the screen, it says erase source objects yes or no. It's set for no, it says N already, so I'm just gonna hit enter. Erase source object would mean that you want to get rid of the original and you just want to flip it over instead of making a copy. So as you can see, we have half of it done already. So we just have this last step, which is to do all of the rest of it at once, which you're just repeating the same step that you did before, except for you're grabbing more of the lines. I'm hitting enter, and this time I'm going to choose any endpoint and the center and hit enter. Okay, and now I've got it all. So now when you dimension, that's the only thing left. You only have to dimension the top left hand area up there. Okay, so I'm going to change to my annotation tools. I'm going to use the aligned dimension tool. Okay, and I'm going to add my dimensions. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell though that my dimensions are not lines that are part of the drawing, so I'm going to change those dimensions to a white color so they stand out a little better. There we go. Have 1 1/8. Okay, you know how to do the dimensions, so I'm just going to leave those be, but you don't know how to do the angular dimensions because that's new. So I'm going to click and hold on the linear dimension tool. Click and hold there. The second one down is called angular. So when we hit angular, the way we're going to do that is, I'm going to show you the drawing we need to dimension. These are the ones showing up in blue, these 30-degree lines, and as you can see, it's dimensioning between this red line and this line back here. So I'm going to click this red line and this line right here. Okay, and as I move around the screen, it changes between 150 degrees and 30 degrees. 150, 30. So I'm just going to place the 30-degree line as best I can. I'll change the color as well so that you can see it a little easier. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing up above. Here and here. And then I'm going on this side and clicking there. Click on it to change it to a different color. Cyan pops out pretty well. Okay, so you will go through these and do all of your dimensions like so, and pass in a nice screenshot of that. So good luck.